Hey, what's up, guys? We're back in the bike shop now. We enjoyed our little bit of time off, and last night we got home and I came out here, put a bottom bracket together on this bike that I'm about to show y'all. What we've got going on here is we've got some people that have been awesome, great, and they've donated bicycles to us, and the bicycles that we can get back together, we get back together and we take them around with us to the park and skate park and wherever we're going. And when we find somebody that needs a bicycle, they get a bicycle. The ones that we can't get back together, they go into our parts pile and they get put onto other bicycles, and we'll eventually give somebody a bicycle. Backyard builds, I got into this with my girls. They've got bikes, they've got skateboards, they've got toys, they've got everything, and I was showing them that there's maintenance and stuff to go along with this, and the girls have always wanted a YouTube channel, so while we were showing maintenance and stuff to go along, I thought we'd take y'all along for the ride, and at the same time we'd give away some bikes. So just before Christmas, me and the kiddos were out and we were going to pick up a donated bike and trucking back down the alley from this lady's driveway, and I catch this little Kent Chaos sitting in a guy's yard up against the side of his house. So we just rode around and asked him, hey, what's up with that little bike in the back? Or is that something you'd want to get rid of? Or, you know, we build bikes, we give them to kids, give them to people that need them, and blah, blah, blah. And he told me, man, just take the bike. Well, right now in the garage, we have a 26-inch beach cruiser, women's bike, nice American-made, beautiful bicycle. We're putting a brand new child carrier that a lady was nice enough to donate to us. I've thrown my beach cruiser in with that package, and we've got another BMX bike, a hyper bike, Mike Spinner Pro, that we've thrown back together. We're taking to the skate parks and stuff with us now, so at this moment in time, we're about to put this little Kent back together. Once we get this little Kent put back together, it's going to start either going to the skate parks with us, or when my wife goes and talks to the school district about somebody that might need the beach cruisers, if they've got a kiddo that needs to ride, we'll throw this one in with the beach cruiser pair. But that's what we do, guys. We get these old bikes, we put them together, we build them the way my grandpa taught me how to build them. On some of our personal stuff, we'll go to Park Tool, something like that, get the bike tools that we actually need. I am showing y'all how to do this the way I was showed how to do this, with the tools that you more than likely have in your garage without having to go get specialty tools to work on your bicycle. Now, yesterday, we got home from the lake. Girls were tired. I came out here for a little bit, and I threw this bottom bracket back in this bike. Your bottom bracket is this part down here that your cranks go in and that your bearings are in. This bike, like I said, had been sitting outside for a little bit. It was rusted up pretty bad, in pretty bad shape. We came in here, took everything apart, degreaser like crazy. Degreaser and grease, as much as it doesn't make sense, is your best friend when it comes to servicing your bicycles. Good old sticky red and tacky, we use the crap out of this all day long. Our bicycles, the giveaway bicycles, you can buy specialty grease, everything like that. We get along pretty well in our shop with some red and tacky, silicone lube, dry chain lube, degreaser, penetrating oil, and some lithium grease for freewheel, stuff like that. Besides the bottom bracket, that is another thing that I've done on this bike already, is I service this freewheel. Your freewheel or a cassette or a free hub, you're going to hear all that. It's the part that goes click on your back wheel when you quit pedaling. And since I've serviced this one, I'm not going to really take that apart again. But I've got one off of a trash bicycle that I bought just for the handlebars for one of our personal builds. This guy had Frankenstein this thing back together. It was in horrible shape, but basically if you look in the face of that freewheel, sorry, you see those two little notches? Those two little notches right there, you're going to go backwards on that thing, like you're tightening it instead of loosening it. It's reverse thread on your freewheel. These department store freewheels, guys, they are simple to service. They are simple to clean, as I'm looking like I'm struggling right here because, like I said, this one's got some issues with it. That's why it's always nice to have a trusty bench vise. Okay, so get this crazy little cap off of here again, guys. Like I said, guys, I would show y'all better, but this one is just, this guy had put this wheel together just to get this wheel to where he needed to go. I bought the whole bike for 15 bucks in the parking lot of the flea market. But this part right here is going to unthread on your freewheel. This is hooked to your wheel. You can see the threads. I got to find my camera here, guys. It's the first time we've done this. You can see there's threads in there. Those threads in there thread onto your hub. You will have a set of bearings that go around this bottom race. Your freewheel slip back on it. It's like I tell the girls when we're putting this, you're putting the cake in the box. You put the icing on the cake, you put the decorations on the cake, put the cake in the box, and then you're stuck with something like that inside. You'll have grease that'll go in here, bearings, your keepers, and then you'll screw your cap back on. Your freewheel's rebuilt. It's good to go. Now, for any of y'all that don't understand a freewheel, a cassette, free hub, whatever you have, you got these little things. It basically works like your ratchet in your shop does. You got those little things right there. Those are called pawls. As you go forward, those pawls will come out like they are right now, and they'll engage up against those ribs right there. And that's what makes your bike, if I put it back together right, Gracie, that's what makes your bike go. That's what makes that grab. That's those paws grabbing against that ridge. The other way, the paws lay down, and that's what gives you your clicking sound. Now, if you have a freewheel coaster and it's not doing anything, it's not going forward, it's not going backwards, it's not making clicking noises, dirt and grease and everything get up underneath these paws and in here, guys. And you take this apart and you take it back apart. When you grease it, just grease where your races go, right, or where your bearings go in that race right there. Just grease where your bearings go. In this very top, you can kind of see a notch right there above those, right in there. This will help y'all better. Right in there. We just want to put grease in that top area all the way around the outside right there. What I do on the inside of these is I'll clean them up real well, and I'll spray just a little bit of lithium in here before I slip it back down on, or dry grease. If I had dry grease, I'd use that. Dry grease works excellent. But anyway, next time your bike's sitting out there, you've been off of it for a winter or whatever, it's just sitting out there just spinning, it's because it's got dirt in it and needs cleaned up. If it's sitting out there and it's catching going forwards and backwards, it's because it's got rust in it and needs cleaned up. A lot of times, guys, on these department store bike freewheels, you can service them yourself and you can make them last forever. Just don't drop your bearings. What we usually do is I've got this. It's got degreaser down in the bottom of the bowl, strainer. I'll take the freewheel apart, hold it, the wheel, everything over this bucket, and just let my hand go, and it dumps. Freewheel bearings, everything's in there. And then you're not hunting for bearings all over your shop. Back to the nature at hand. So what we've got here, like I said, I've done the bottom bracket. Bottom bracket's basically the same thing. It's just a little bigger. On this bike and on most of your department store bikes, you're going to have these bearings and these keepers. That keeps them into place, makes it easy on you, everything like that. What we're working on today is your headstock. Your headstock is here, where your forks go into your frame. That is your headstock. If you've got a gyro, BMX style, you got a gyro. There are ball bearings in there. And yesterday, what I did there is you just take a little bit of this red and tacky, and you just go right around the edge, and you just kind of push, 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 and then you'll just spin this thing, and it'll start throwing grease out. You wipe off your excess, and that's serviced. That's easy. This, to put it back together, we've got everything apart here. We've even got the bearing race off the bottom of the forks. Our forks here, we've put a little bit of grease on. It's going to make everything thread better, everything slide back on better. Our parts over here, we've taken off and we've just doused in degreaser. I've got, these are my loose ball bearings that go on my wheel, and they're just in a little cup full of degreaser. This is your bearing race on your forks. It'll slide right back on that notch. Take it off. I just took a pair of channel locks, beat it off a little bit. That will sit back down on there, guys, as you're tightening everything back down. But you get it down there to the edge like that. You want to do just a little bit of tap. Don't hit hard, because you bend that race, then you're ordering a whole new bottom bracket kit. But you can get it tapped down, just get it started. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but there's still a little bit of a gap there. And as I draw the handlebars down, it's going to draw that together. Now, as we've done that, I'm going to take and I'm going to flip our frame around right here. And you can see right inside that right there, we're going to take our good red and tacky grease here. And you don't have to fill up the tube. Your tube's basically just free floating in there. Your bearing's right on your race on the top and the bottom. So we want to make sure that that race right there has a good layer, good coat of our red and tacky grease on it. Any extra grease is going to run out the top or run out the bottom, guys. You're going to wipe it off your bike. You get too much grease, it's not a bad thing. You get not, unless it's on a free wheel. You get not enough grease, then I don't know what to tell you. Your bike's going to come apart. You're going to do like I did Christmas Eve. Ripped my brand new bike out of the box, finished putting it together, went and rode around, and blew a bottom bracket out of it, because from the factory, Mongoose did not grease that bike. This, I'm just taking a little bit of my red and tacky grease here, and this is our bearings. And we are going to take, and you can see there's kind of little notches in there where the balls sit. And you're just going to take, and you're just going to kind of take a couple fingers, and you're going to wrap that grease. You're going to tuck it, fold it. It's called packing the bearing. You're going to throw it in there, get that bearing all good and coated. And like I said, it's going to run out the bottom or the top if you got too much. It's going to ruin a bike if you don't have enough. So I usually take another thin little layer right here, put it on, and my bearing will look something like that when I set it down inside my bicycle frame. Bottom part of the head tube's done. You're done there. You got a little bit of extra grease on your fingers. Run it around, kind of coat the top side. You can kind of see right there where I'm just kind of running around. Get between that bearing and that race, kind of pack that extra grease you got down in between that bearing and that race on the outside. Get you a good little layer coating the top of that bearing. Like I said, we greased our forks just so everything goes a little easier. This race we just put back on here, we're going to take, and again, we're just going to get us a nice little layer. You can use shop gloves. They make grease guns and everything else. We just do it quick and dirty here with our backyard builds and our personal builds and all of our builds. Get that race good and greased up. That bearing and everything's good and greased up, guys. And this is just going to take, and you're just going to slide right up the center. Flip your bike over. And now you're right here at the very top. Hey, Marley.
Yeah.
Can you do me a big favor?
Yeah. Can I bring in Gracie? She's starting to cry because she's cold.
No. Hey, Gracie, can you do me a favor too? Can both of y'all come over here and kind of hold this camera up so they can see what we're doing here? Or y'all can play with grease. I know y'all just did your nails today. Y'all want to play with grease on your new nails?
I didn't do my nails.
Ooh, then maybe you need to play with grease.
I did not do my nails. No, I'm not playing with grease.
Okay,
I
so
want to play with grease.
here we got the same thing, guys. We've got the top race. This would have been a good time to do the gyro, but we're going to come back here.
Can I play with grease?
And just between that race and that axle, or that race and that fork tube, we're going to run a little bit more red and tacky in there. Kind of fill up the whole hole, you know? I'm sure I'm probably shaking camera around here a little bit, but... And then again... You've got your lower race, or your upper bearings that goes on your race. We're just going to pack it full of grease. Make sure we just kind of go around inside, make sure all those little notches and everything are getting a good little coating of grease in it. You want to take and just kind of rub that thing around in your fingers like that. And then we're going to drop our bearing down over the top like that. We've got grease all over everything real good, guys. So we're going to take our cap, our fork cap. You got threaded forks, this is the way it's going to go. You got threadless forks, I'm going to show you on my mongoose one of these days. Anyway, see, we're going to grease that up. And then this is not reverse thread. This is just your normal everyday threads. Grease makes everything slick. This bike's been apart for a minute. There we go. I'm not going to sit there and make y'all watch me run that whole thing down. Anyway, and that, guys, is pretty much all it's going to take to do a fork job. Your head tube is greased now. It's serviced. And you're ready to go again for quite a while on a head tube. You put a little bit of stress on a head tube, but nothing like a bottom bracket, nothing like your wheel bearings. I go ahead and take my head tubes apart about every 6 months on my play bike, on my park bikes, when I take everything apart on them. And my trail bike, it depends on how wet and how hard, wet, muddy, sandy, and how hard we rode on my trail bikes. But anything that I ride quite a bit, we're gonna take about every 6 months, take about twice a year, and we're gonna take them apart. Okay, now y'all can see it's still covered in grease, but I brought this down. And as I brought this down, it sucked up that bottom race to where we don't have that gap between the forks and the race anymore. So that's what we wanted there. Now all we really got left here is kind of do some cleanup. And I'll get more in depth with this degreaser stuff later. Degreaser, I've got some spray 9 back there. I've used Simple Green. Just whatever you're in the store. Oh crap, I need degreaser. And you go down the shelf, whatever you find. Degreaser's degreaser, guys. It works. Once you get your head tube on, all back together like that, on a threaded, you're gonna have a lock nut like this one. Well, when you do that, you do this. You're going to have a mongoose lock nut that's actually going to thread on, because I just threw that Kent one back underneath the bench. But basically, guys, this lock nut just goes down, pinches threads against threads, and makes it to where this top race don't come up and you don't start losing your handlebars. Stuff gets loose. Bearings don't like to function right when stuff gets loose. But that is going to be our setup on this bike. That's how we're going to go back together on this bike. And all that's left after this is this top nut spacer, and then your finishing nut. And I will show y'all tomorrow how we slide handlebars in. Before I let you go, before we work on wheels and handlebars tomorrow, I do want to give a huge shout out. So the girls, when we went Christmas shopping last weekend, bought me the cheapest on sale 8.25 inch deck that Zoomies had, because we were in the mall. And awesome. I needed to build another deck. All my stuff's back there. I'd show you. My old Sector 9's got mismatched grip tape on it, everything. Well, today the girls bought me that deck. So today after work, I stopped by Expensive Habits Urban Outfitters here in Amarillo, Texas. Went in, told them my story, told them what we're doing on these bicycles for one. Told them, 40-year-old dude, and I drug my skateboard out of the attic that's been up there for I don't know how long, mismatched grip tape. I'm teaching my 7-year-old how to ride, blah, blah, blah. Gave him the story about the Zoomies board. Told him, hey, friend at the skate park told us that y'all existed. Y'all are over here, and I'd rather keep my money local and in town. Sorry, Zoomies. I love y'all. Y'all have been great to us over the years, and you know that we're still going to buy stuff from you when we're in the mall here, there, and yonder. But I told the guy that I wanted to keep my money in town where I could keep my money in town, and he showed me parts that they had, showed me trucks, showed me wheels, showed me grip tape, showed me everything that I needed for my board. I told him, I said, cool, well, I'm going to get my girls together and get them in here. They're going to put this board together for me. I'm going to have no clue how it's going to end up at the end. I'm just going to cruise it. And he said, awesome. He said, well, good deal. We went over everything, talked, my history, my riding style. I just like to feel it, it's just feel the wind, man, just cruising everything. But before I walked out of there, dude hooked me up. Awesome Santa Cruz cruiser. Expensive Habits, Amarillo, Texas. These guys are legit. This is my skate shop. This is where I'm going to go from now on, here on out. I mean, that's great. They hooked me up. Y'all, we'll throw some videos up. Hopefully, if it's not too cold this weekend, me and the girls will get on this cruiser, and we're just going to love it. We're going to have so much fun with it. Such a great time. Everything. thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Like I said, I got to get this little Kent back the rest of the way together. We've got the other two builds going, or the other two bikes going. I need to clean up that Girls Beach Cruiser, get the child carrier thrown on the back of it, and then we've also got that hyper bike out there that's ready to go, that's been cruising to the skate parks with us. I've jumped on it, the kids have jumped on it. We've had kids on the skate. I had a kid the other day jump on it at the skate park, and he said, man, that bike runs smooth. And I said, we just had it apart. We just cleaned and greased all the bearings and everything. He goes, wait, bearings? Bikes have bearings? Yes, kids, bikes have bearings. Brand new from the store. Get your bikes out of the boxes, guys, and take them apart and grease the bearings. That big old tub of red and tacky that I have, I think cost me $7 or $8. It's not that expensive. You can do it with normal household tools. You see me put a head piece back together with a pair of channel locks. You got these specialty tools, everything that you can have, but for the normal household person, for the kid that's trying to keep his toy running, department store toys, guys, you can keep running. We keep department store bikes running. When I say we got 2 brand new bikes for Christmas, Santa brought my daughter a Hyper Jet Fuel that he took apart and greased and packed, and my wife bought me a Mongoose Rebel X1. Third Mongoose I own, worst Mongoose I own. I know they're Durrell Industries. I know they're not even Pacific Cycles owned anymore, guys, but like I said, I got so dang excited. I took this thing out of the box, put it together before Christmas Eve service, went out and beat around the block a little bit, jumped it off the playground a couple times, like a 10-inch drop, guys. I mean, it's nothing. I'm 245-pound dude, so I mean, it's something. But like a 10-inch drop, and took it to the skate park the next day, or the day after, the day after Christmas. We took it to the skate park, and bottom bracket was pinging like right away. Took it back to the car, took it apart, and it was dry. Bearings were falling out of the cages. The cup on the non-drive side was warped. It was threaded wrong. It was just so much stuff. Luckily, I was able to get in here, and I got into one of my drawers and put a crank set and bearings and races that I had out of a parts bike is in my brand new Mongoose Rebel X1. So department store, guys, these bikes can last. Maintenance is going to be your main thing, and then you spend a little bit of money on parts. You'll see me and Marley will spend a little money this year on these 2 department store bikes that I got. I'm looking right now at a Fit Bike Co. Mid PRK model in the 90s pink. It's got to be 90s pink. Come on, guys. If Miss Piggy up here keeps giving me issues, then that might be what happens. Sitting behind it there, I got to drag that out one of these days. That is the coolest bike in the world. That is my 1998 Mongoose Sniper. Hopefully Mama's getting me new tires for my birthday, because it is just, out of all the bikes that I've got, that old bike is just so much fun just to beat around at the park, take down to the park, school park down here, right around the streets. It gets so much attention, and it's just such a good put together bike, such a well running bike. But these will be too when we get them to their new homes. Anyway, sorry, rambled on a little longer. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Backyard Builds. Peace.